Here we go, y'all. I'm Not Alone by Equinette Ladd from Life Through the Eyes of a Woman. Currently available in Audible format. All right, y'all. I'm not alone. When my eyes opened this morning, my initial thought was, boy, that extra 2 hours of sleep really did me some justice. I could already tell my body felt well rested. I have been ripping and running so much lately until it's been hard for me to keep up with my own self. Even when I actually have a day off work, it doesn't really feel like one. On the days I'm not working, there are still a million things left for me to do. Rarely do I get a chance to just stay home, lounge around in my PJs, and just rest my body. Sometimes I feel so alone in this world. Often, my personal life seems so hopeless and boring. I'm miserable on my job because it's way too stressful and doesn't pay enough, and don't even get me started on relationships. I haven't even had an even halfway decent man since Jesus was a baby. I'm tired of going to school, but I know having a good education is important. Financially, it seems like I'm drowning in debt without a life preserver anywhere in sight. Life is just so hard, especially when you're all alone. Hell, I can't even afford to buy a dog. If I could splurge and get a puppy, at least that would be some type of dependable companionship. When I'm out and about taking care of errands, I see other women that appear to be so blessed. They're out shopping and paying bills with their husbands. Sometimes when I'm on break at work, a lot of my female coworkers receive phone calls from their spouses, family, and friends, just calling to check on them. I just sit there and think to myself, wow, they are so lucky. Unfortunately, my phone never seems to ring unless it's a damn bill collector. A lot of times I think to myself, why am I on the short end of the stick in life? Don't get me wrong, I have family, but we're not close. Both my mom and dad are great parents, but they have enough of their own problems to worry about. Besides, I'm an adult now, so I have to learn how to roll with the punches and stand on my own 2 feet. My parents are no longer together. They are both remarried and reside in a different city than myself. I only get to see them on holidays. I moved from San Antonio, Texas to Houston because of college and more job availability. For the most part, I'm alone. So most of the time when I need someone to lean on, there's nobody. For now, I'm stuck flying through life solo. Since no one is around for me to lean on during hard times, I just have to lean with the hope that I don't fall down completely. Because if I do, I'm not sure I'll have enough strength to get back up. After waking up this morning, I just laid in bed for a few minutes to reflect on all the problems I must somehow find a way to fix. My car doesn't have any air conditioning, and when it's mid July in Texas, that's a definite no no. Luckily, so far this week it's been raining, so the weather has been a nice temperature. I needed $50 more to pay off the balance on my light bill. The bill is due in 2 days, but I have no idea where the money is coming from because I only have a $10 bill left to my name, and that was already spent. $5 is going in my gas tank, and the rest I'll be spending on food. Since it's just me, food isn't a big issue. I can eat whatever hot dogs, noodles, grilled cheese, peanut butter, and jelly. It's not like I haven't done it 1,000 times before. I just hate that it's going to mess up my diet because I've been doing so well. It never fails. I always seem to find myself flat broke a few days before payday. Now, the gas situation is more of a problem. After I put these $5 in my car, that will only bring me to a quarter tank of gas. There is no way I'll make it back and forth to work 3 more days on a quarter tank of gas. I rolled over in bed and reached for the phone to make a couple of calls. I called my dad Pete, hoping he could quick collect me some money, but he didn't have anything. My dad unexpectedly got laid off last year. As a result, all that he has to depend on is unemployment. I feel so bad for my father because in a couple of months, his unemployment benefits will be exhausted. And so far, he doesn't have any interviews lined up. My dad, Pete, worked as a janitor with the same school district for over 22 years and hardly ever missed a day of work. My father has been out there diligently looking for work, but nobody seems to want to give him a chance. So I suggested he open his own janitorial business. When I talked to him on the phone, Dad told me he was looking into getting it off the ground. I'll be praying for my father that things work out because he's a good man. I knew it was a long shot that my dad would have any money, but I thought I'd try anyway. Next, I called my mother, and she was flat broke from paying her mortgage, owner association dues, and car note. What's really pathetic is I don't even have anything around the house of value to pawn for a few dollars. A couple of weeks ago, I got a loan on two rings in order to buy a starter for my car. Having to get that raggedy old jalopy fixed in the first place is what has me in this situation. My situation was looking pretty ugly. I thought to myself, this is really a sad situation. Being a grown woman and always finding myself in this predicament. It never fails. Every time I think I'm almost out of the hole, something happens to push me right back in it. Before I realized it, time had gotten away from me. I was running late for work. I had only 30 minutes before it was time to punch in, so I had to find something pretty quickly to throw on that didn't need ironing. In the closet, I spotted what used to be my favorite pair of jeans. I said used to be because I hadn't worn those in almost 2 years. Over the last 4 months, I have been cutting down tremendously on eating carbohydrates and drinking soda. I'm also jogging and cycling again. As a result, I lost almost 20 pounds. I felt confident I could finally squeeze my big behind back in those jeans. I quickly snatched the jeans off the hanger along with my white button down shirt. After putting on the shirt, I slid on my jeans and they fitted like a champ, showing off my best asset. That's why I nicknamed my favorite pair of jeans Heartbreakers. I turned around while looking at myself in a full length mirror, shook my butt a couple of times, and struck a pose and said, "Oh, yeah, baby got back." Next, I smiled and said to myself, "Michelle, you're looking like a sexy caramel girl. Try not to hurt the fellas too hard when they get a good look at you in those heartbreakers." I looked in the mirror while fastening my belt and noticed a little budge in my left front pocket. So I quickly reached my hand down in the pocket to flatten it out and felt something. I pulled out my hand thinking it was an old receipt or something, but in the palm of my hand were two wrinkled up $100 bills. I could have passed out. All I could do was smile and my eyes began to water. I didn't care if I was running late for work or not. I stopped right then and there, fell on my knees, and told God, "Thank you for the blessing that I had just received." I also apologized to the good Lord for worrying and not exercising my faith. I told God how truly sorry I was for not taking my concerns to Him, in spite of knowing my Savior had taken care of me countless times before. Excuse me. Afterwards, I took one last glance in the mirror, wiped my face, sprayed a little oil sheen on my freestyle braids, quickly applied a little lip gloss, grabbed my purse and car keys, and then headed out the front door. On my way to work, I thought about how fortunate I was. God planned for me to wear those jeans at exactly the right time. Now, I could pay on my electric bill and fill up my gas tank. After work, I could even splurge a little bit and treat myself to some taco grande. Surprisingly, traffic flowed smoothly on the freeway, so I was able to make it to work within 10 minutes. When I made it to my floor at work, I went into the bathroom to check my hair. Soon as I walked through the door, I noticed one of my coworkers in the restaurant crying. I went over to Alicia and asked why she was so upset. At first, she tried to deny being upset and said, "Girl, I'm okay. I just got a piece of eyelash in my eye." I looked at Alicia, shook my head, and said, I don't think so, Lily, because if that was the case, both of your eyes wouldn't be red. Then Alicia really began to break down and cry. I grabbed some toilet paper out of the bathroom stall, then walked over, handed it to Alicia, and said, Here, Alicia, wipe your face, Diva. I told her, Look, I'm not trying to get in your business just to be messy, but it looks like you could use someone to talk to. I said to Lily, If you want to talk to me, whatever you tells me stays only between us and the man upstairs. Alicia confided in me how she drove to work with her gas light on because she couldn't afford to miss any more days or she would be placed on probation. Lily told me her husband, Everett, packed up and left without any notice. Alicia said he drained their bank account, not leaving her one red cent. Alicia began to sob even harder and told me how it's been so difficult trying to hold everything together until she got paid. Alicia told me she gave her husband money to pay the rent just as she did every month. But the only difference between this month and all the others was Everett didn't even have the decency to pay the rent before bailing on her and their 5-year old son. Alicia told me that she believed Everett used her money as a down payment to move into an apartment with another woman because when she called his cellular phone 2 days after he left, a lady named Lauren answered. The woman informed Alicia that she had been dating Everett for about a year and that they were now living together. Lauren told Alicia that she knew Everett was married but thought he had separated from his wife before they got together. I told Alicia that Lauren was still wrong because she had no business dating another woman's husband, separated or not. Lauren probably thinks she has a prize in Everett, but girlfriend will soon find out what she really has, which is absolutely nothing. I have watched men on previous jobs and in my family behave unfaithfully to their wives. Having an affair may seem exciting and new for a while, but stuff like that never lasts. It's like I always say, a wife knows exactly the kind of man she has in her husband, but a mistress only knows the lies and delusions her cheating boyfriend tells her. Now that Lauren has Everett all to herself, she will get to see his true colors. Anyway, Alicia confided when she got home from work yesterday, there was a notice of eviction hanging on her door. The notice stated that Alicia owed $620 for rent plus $120 in late fees. I gave Alicia a hug and assured her that everything was going to be all right. I told Alicia that she was a strong woman. I also told her that it may not feel like it now, but ever leaving was for the best. I looked at Alicia and gently grabbed the bottom of her chin to raise her head up and said, No matter how bad things may seem, Lily, hold your head up high. Then I let her know every leaving was a chance for a new start without all of the dead weight. Everett was a dog, anyways, and a broke one at that. I thought Everett was a good man until I saw him in the movie theater where I used to be employed at a couple of years ago, all hugged up with another woman. I guess Everett thought since he took his little friend to a theater on the other side of town that nobody would see him creeping. But his dog behind was wrong as two left shoes. That day, you could have sold Everett for a penny after I walked past him and waved while he was standing in line all hugged up, waiting to get their little snacks. It was funny because I was on the opposite side of the concession stand, not too far from where my movie would be showing. I was putting butter on my popcorn, and Everett was standing with his back towards me, hugging his lady friend. I thought to myself, dang, that guy looks just like Everett from the back. He has that same big old humongous head, double wide back, flat behind, and slew feet. But that couldn't be Everett because that's not Lily. Then I said to myself, good Lord, don't tell me there's another man around Houston with that same jacked up body. But you know what they say, everyone has a twin. Then, when that fool walked up in line, I was able to get a good look at his face and saw it for myself. Well, I'll be damned. It is him. This ignorant ass Negro has the unmitigated gall to be in public, all hugged up with another woman for the whole world to see. I was so disappointed with Everett, but I wanted to make sure he knew that I saw him. So I snatched up my cherry icy and bucket of popcorn, then walked way over to the other end of the concession stand just to pass by him. When our eyes met up, I frowned at him like, yeah, mutt, I see you, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that is you. Everett just stood there looking stupid. Then I walked back to where I initially was in order to catch my movie. I just never told Alicia about the incident for fear that she would get mad at me. Alicia and I initially met a couple of years ago during my freshman year at college. We had an introduction to sociology class together. We were assigned to work on an oral presentation together. As a result, we ended up becoming pretty cool associates. One night, we decided to meet up at Alicia's house to work on our presentation. That is how I first met Everett. Shortly after the school semester was over, something ironic happened. I began working at my current job, Brown and Evans Insurance Company. Then, not even a whole month later, Alicia obtained employment there too. Now I consider Alicia a good acquaintance of mine because we have built a rapport. But 2 years ago, I didn't feel comfortable enough, nor felt it was my place to inform Alicia that Everett was stepping out on her with another woman. Looking back on things now, I wish that I had told her. Plus, ever since Everett left his job at Boss Medical Supply 2 years ago, he hadn't held a steady job, so Alicia didn't need that buster anyway. Everett probably took his little tramp out for a night on the town with Alicia's hard earned money because he sure didn't have any. I looked at Alicia and said, excuse me, God will get you through this, and I'll be there for you too. I told Lily that after work, I would follow her across the street to the gas station, just in case her car stopped on her. I didn't want Alicia to be out alone at 10 o'clock at night. Then I told Lily if she wanted, tomorrow I would go with her to speak with the account manager at our apartment complex. Since Alicia had been such a good tenant for the past 4 years, I was sure they would try to work something out to assist her. Lord knows they had to help me a few times. Next, I reached in my purse, pulled out $100 bill, and handed it to Alicia. I told Alicia to put some gas in her car and buy some food for her and the baby. Alicia said, Michelle, you can't afford to be lending me any money, girl. I can't take this. I said to Alicia, girlfriend, if you don't take this money, I'm going to clobber you upside the head. And then you'll be crying because you're sad and because your head is hurting. I balled up my fist and playfully shook them at Lily and said, don't make me have to do it, Lily. I'll 1, 2, 3, 4 your behind because you're in this bathroom being stubborn. Alicia began to laugh and then wiped a tear from her right eye with a piece of toilet paper I had previously given her. Next, Alicia took the $100 bill and put it in her purse. I looked at her and said, now that's more like it. But you don't have to be laughing all hard at my boxing skills. Lily smiled and said, my bad, I'm sorry, Michelle. I said to Lily, let me help you and stop worrying about what I'm able to do. I told her, I know what a good person you are, Alicia. I honestly believe, Alicia, if the situation were reversed, you would do the same for me without any hesitation. I also told Alicia not to worry about paying me the money back because it was a gift. It's not like I found $200 and was trying to front like I was rich. I knew I had my own bills to pay. I could have waited until after work to break the $100 bill, only giving her $20 or $30. God knows I'm struggling myself, but it was in my heart to give her the whole $100 bill, so that's what I did. When God puts it on your heart to help someone else, you follow through, I've always found that it comes back to the giver tenfold. I didn't want Alicia sitting at work all day worrying about how she was going to pick up her son, then make it home. Also, being able to help Alicia enabled me to realize some things about my own life. It felt good to take the focus off my own situation and be there for someone else. Those couple of minutes in the bathroom with Alicia enabled me to see just how blessed I truly am. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I used to envy Alicia's marriage because they seemed to be so in love. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the least bit happy about what Alicia's husband did. One thing I know for sure is that Everett will get his before it's all said and done. Lily's situation has taught me that appearances are not always what they seem. Life may be hard for me right now, and sometimes I do struggle with loneliness. Now, I definitely understand the importance of counting my blessings because life could be so much worse. At least I'm fortunate enough to have a job, be in college, and not have any kids to worry about. Plus, I have all my health and strength. Most of my problems are mainly financial and hopefully temporary. I believe things will turn around for me after I finish college. To be honest, the issues I've been complaining about are obsolete in comparison to some mountains other folks have to climb. I have also come to understand often God's children may feel alone or abandoned, but we never truly are. God never leaves us alone. On the drive home from work, I was thinking about how awesome God is. In spite of all the children in the world, our Heavenly Father has the responsibility of protecting and providing for. He still manages to meet each one of our needs just in the nick of time. The problems I was stressing and crying over this past week, God took care of them within the blink of an eye, not to mention providing for his other child, Alicia, in the process. It's good to be reminded that regardless of how bad our situation may seem, or despite what we may think, God still sits on the throne and he's always in control. Well, guys, I apologize. I know that I stumbled a couple of times there. My contacts got blurry on me, and I was having trouble reading. See how the devil do? But I was determined to get through this story. I was like, oh no, I'm going to finish this story. So I hope for those of you who stuck with me and listened to it through the end. I hope you got something from it that was positive and uplifting, especially if you've been dealing with loneliness or your faith has been tested. Just please remember that God brought you out before and He'll bring you out again. And I really would appreciate you all's support of my work. It helps me to put out more books. But for those of you who listened through its entirety, hopefully you still was still able to enjoy the story. If you did, please share it with someone else and hit the thumbs up button for me so I can continue to put out more content. Until we meet again, I pray that you all have a great week and that the Lord protects you and your loved ones and puts that hedge of protection around your family and any and everything else that you hold dear. Until we meet again, beautiful people, stay up and stay blessed.